In the heart of the Yucatan Peninsula, there is a UNESCO World Heritage Site that is among one of the most beautiful structures in all of Latin America, especially Mexico, and that is the Mayan temple of Kukulkan, which is a part of Chichen Itza. This structure is also called El Castillo, which means the castle, and there are tons of other amazing structures within this beautiful site. However, there are a few things going on right now that has made Chichen Itza the star of some of the weirdest happenings that are going on, and we're going to get into that right now. Now, for those of you who don't know, my name is Alexander Howell, and this YouTube channel actually started because my wife and I purchased a home in Merida, Mexico, in the state of Yucatan, which is one of the states that kind of make up the Yucatan Peninsula. And we started it because we wanted to talk about the city that we'd fallen in love with, go through the renovation process, show you what we had created, and bring you into our lives. Now, I hope that we've done that, but today's video is about the Yucatan Peninsula itself and something that's going on that's a little bit strange. But if you do have any questions about what this channel is about, or if you have questions about this particular video, obviously feel free to comment down below, like and subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell to let you know anytime that one of these videos goes live, or I end up going live on live stream, so you can ask questions directly to me at that time. I also have all of my contact information down below via Instagram, Twitter. But obviously this channel being about our real estate adventures internationally or our travel adventures internationally, today is a little bit different because I want to talk about something that is near and dear to the people of Yucatan, and that is Chichen Itza and some of the goings on there. Now, I'm going to let you know this is going to be a little bit different than some of my videos where I normally speak directly to the camera, as I have thus far. I have my computer right here because I want to make sure that I get every single bit of this information correct. So first, we're going to go through a little bit of history, and all of the information that I am reading off of my computer was gathered from some amazing sources, of which I'm going to put the articles from the exact places down below so they get the credit that they deserve. Now, some of these articles have one news source. For instance, the history, the collector.com has an amazing history of Chichen Itza, which I'm going to go through first. Some of the others have been reported by multiple news outlets. I'm going to pick out the one that seemed to give the most up-to-date information that I could possibly find. And in the end, I promise you, there's a fun story about a doggy, and that's where we're going to leave off. So stick around for that. And thank you very much. Let's move on. So as I move over here to the collector.com, why is Chichen Itza a world wonder? We're going to go through a little bit of history. And this is just me looking over here. I'm going to try to look into the microphone so you can hear exactly what I'm saying. Estimates on the age of Chichen Itza vary, but recent research suggests it could be at least 1,500 years old. In fact, some archaeologists today believe the foundations of the ancient Mayan city date as far back as 100 CE, which is 400 years older than thought in earlier decades. Now, the founders apparently called themselves water witches. I thought this was interesting, and I'd never heard this before. But the name Chichen Itza comes from both the place and the people who founded it. And there are going to be some Yucatecan words in here, some Mayan words in here that I am going to mispronounce. So please don't hate me in the comment section, but just understand that I'm trying my best to do this. The word Chichen means mouth of the well, a nod towards the Choltec cenote, which provided the city with a steady water supply. Meanwhile, the term Itza or Itza is reference to the Itzais, or water witches, who first settled in the area in around the 5th century CE. Over the following centuries, the Itzais transformed this once remote patch of jungle into a busy metropolis where arts and culture flourished. Later, the area expanded as further settlers arrived in the area, bringing with them new ideas and ambitions. Now, you will notice that the Temple of Kukulkan is not the only structure on this property. There are several. There's the Temple of the Warriors, and of course, the ball court, the ancient ball court, where they played a game where you had to kick a ball through a stone hoop. And the strangest part about that particular game is, as far as we know, that the winner of the game died. They sacrificed themselves. So if you won the game and you were able to kick the ball through the hoop, and I believe it was only 1-0, so if you did it one time with only your feet, you got to sacrifice yourself. So a little bit different than modern soccer, but you know, the World Cup is always changing, we'll say. Obviously, that's a joke. I hope you took it that way. But the fact is that this ancient wonder is absolutely beautiful, and there are tons of tourists that go every single year. Now, this can sometimes be a problem, and we're going to get to that eventually, but one of the issues that is currently going on is the INAH, which is the, just so I get this perfectly correct, the National Institute of Anthropology and History, which is also the organization that when you say I don't know, renovate a historic home in Merida, you have to make sure that they approve of everything that you do, which I actually discussed in the live stream that I held yesterday before this recording, not before this actually gets put online. But they are the organization to make sure that the historical monuments are taken care of. Now, I say that there's going to be a little bit of controversy with that particular organization, and there is always controversy with people who talk to me about renovating those houses, because we'll just say sometimes it takes them a little longer than you hope it would. But according to this article from the Yucatan Times, and I'm going to try to pronounce this as best I can, but if I mess it up, please don't kill me. But the Ejidatarios, which are handicraft vendors and tourist service providers, they were demonstrating outside of the archaeological site of Chichen Itza. And they were demanding the dismissal of Marco Antonio Santos, the director of Chichen Itza Archaeological Zone, an employee of the National Institute of Anthropology and History, the INAH. Now, from what I've gathered from all these articles that we're going to go through later, is that the individuals in these areas that are selling products, they're vendors, they are in the INAH's role, or at least in the body that resides over, that has power over Chichen Itza itself. That particular organization felt that they were kind of crowding the streets and selling things that they said may have been authentic when they were not. However, these are indigenous people that feel like this is a part of their history. This is their land. This is something that belongs to them. Now, I haven't seen a single article which states that they want to take back over Chichen Itza and it all be them. That is not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that this is an ancient historical landmark that these indigenous people feel is a part of their history, a part of their heritage, and should be absolutely respected. And as the descendants of those individuals, they feel that they should be respected and able to be a part of that landmark. I'm going to actually read from here. After the blockade ended, which it currently has ended, it says, "Now we are removing stones, ropes, banners, logs, and other tools that were used so that no vehicle passes," the mediator reported. The peasants who had lost hope before the apparent disinterest of the president of Mexico, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, AMLO, for him to intervene in the conflict, considered that the response of the federal government was not a triumph. "It is an act of justice. It is the solution to a dignified treatment. We were already tired of the arrogance of the director of the archaeological zone of Chichen Itza, who violated our rights as indigenous people." I'm going to try to pronounce this individual's name correctly. Chaupuk explained. He considered that it worked due to the unity among the inhabitants of Piste, Chalcocalp, San Felipe Nuevo, and all the communities of Tunum. And just to continue a little bit more from the other side, for his part, the director of the INAH Yucatan Center, Jose Arturo Chaub Cardenas, I hope I got that right, confirmed the end of the blockade and reporting of the Mayan city declared a World Heritage Site since 1988, discussed, and where the Kukulkan Castle is located, one of the new 7 wonders of the modern world. Thanks to the efforts made by the Ministry of the Interior, access to the Valladolid-Merida highway was achieved. Tourists will be able to enter the site starting tomorrow. I should say that tomorrow was when this article was either published or when they got the quote, but this article was published January 13th of this year, 2023. Now, in other articles leading up to this, whether it's for the Yucatan Times, YucatanMagazine.com, whatever it may be, this was a contentious issue. And part of the reason was, on site, the indigenous people were also heard saying that they were not able to speak Mayan on a site that was a Mayan site. Now, just like anything else, when you hear something reported, when you hear something from both sides, the answer normally lies somewhere in the middle. But the fact of the matter is that for a period of time, including up to this year, there were issues with regard to Chichen Itza getting in. Now, my personal opinion is this, and I only offer this as somebody who is not a part of that community, not a part of the negotiations, everything else. And that is this: the most positive situation is when both of these organizations, when both of these people can come together, find agreements, and make sure that not only is the ancient site and the people that are descendants of those people respected, but also that the state can show this beautiful site off in a way that is beneficial to the tourism and Mexico in general. And with the Mayan train coming up, or Tren Maya, this is a site that people will want to see, especially as tracks are laid getting to that. And it is one of the top sites people are excited to see, along with Uxmal, Tulum, and of course the major cities, Cancun, Merida, and the like. So while I personally hope this issue doesn't come up again, I think both sides have gotten along so far. They have some type of agreement in place. And the only issue that I continuously see now is to make sure that that said Mayan train does not harm the environment around the structure of Chichen Itza. Now, it's not just the structure, it's a lot of just the cutting through of the forest and that kind of thing for something that a lot of people are looking forward to, but doing it in the proper way. I've talked about this on several occasions, so I'm not going to harp on it, but basically, I think most people that I've polled interviewed, talked to, believe that the Mayan train is going to be an amazing thing. Every single person has agreed so far, though, that as long as the environment is taken care of, this project will be beneficial to Yucatan, the Yucatan Peninsula, and Mexico in general. Now we move on to a slightly funny and incredibly aggravating thing that's going on. The reason I say incredibly aggravating to start is because this has to do with an issue that I think is the bane of all of our existences these days, and that are people that are clout chasing. For those of you who don't know what are clout chasers, that means that they are looking for online affirmation of themselves. Merriam-Webster might not like the way that I put that out there, but I think that's a good way of putting it. But basically, you have somebody like me that's a YouTuber, and obviously if I'm recording myself on a camera, there's a bit of vanity that goes within that. However, when it comes to individuals like that, a lot of times what we're trying to do is bring knowledge, experience, so on and so forth. However, when I post pictures on Instagram, normally it's of me with chicken wings hanging out of my mouth, or me getting into situations with my kids that are hilarious, things like that. I try not to take selfies on top of mountains, but some people do that, and in all honesty, if I climbed Everest, you guys are going to have to see a picture of a mountain. But there is a difference between being proud of something, trying to show something, impress people, and doing something that is not just illegal, but misinformed, ill-represented, and wrong. And that is where we get to the shameful actions of certain tourists that have visited Chichen Itza, and especially Kukulkan, or El Castillo, the castle. You know that picture that I probably have prominently displayed on this thumbnail? Well, that particular structure is currently not available for you to walk up. Now, it used to be for years, but they noticed that the huge number of tourists going up it actually was taking its toll on the structure, so they made it illegal to walk up it. Now, is this sad? Yes. Do I wish I would have gone down there and actually walked up it in the past? I'm not gonna lie, yes, I actually do. But now that it's not legal, you just don't do it. And especially when you are talking about the indigenous people that we just spoke to, the people that are the descendants of the Mayans, who this site is sacred to, you want to make sure that you respect that structure. It is not just a Mayan structure, it is a Yucatecan structure, it is a Mexican structure, and when you come in from a different country, it's a little dissatisfying to say that you are the type of person that would do that. So we go on to a couple of articles, one of which is from TMZ, which I thought was great because they actually posted the video of somebody being beaten by a stick. Now, when I say somebody was beaten by a stick in Mexico, there are going to be people that see this video, watch the entire thing, click onto that 10-second little comment and say, that's why you shouldn't go to Mexico. That is not the case at all. This is normally a fun structure that people love going to. Again, a beautiful UNESCO World Heritage Site that shows ancient Mayan ruins that are absolutely beautiful. However, these individuals that decided that they wanted to take selfies on top of Kukulkan, El Castillo, and then walk all the way down, probably kind of deserved some of the things that they got. So in this first article, again from the Yucatan Times, so far this year, 5 tourists have crossed the security cordon to approach or climb El Castillo at Chichen Itza, and after their detention, they were fined, handed over to the competent authority, and forced to erase the photographic and or video material they took, informed the director of the Archaeological Monument Zone of Chichen Itza, Marco Antonio Santos Ramirez. So in November of 2022, on Sunday the 20th, around 1:30 in the afternoon, a 29-year-old woman originally from Mexicali, Baja California, did not comply with the prohibition to access the west staircase of El Castillo, affecting the operation of the site. For this reason, and once it was confirmed that there was no damages to the monument according to the protocols of the archaeological zone, the reasons why it is not allowed to climb the pyramidal structures were explained to her. She was immediately handed over to the Tinum Municipal Police, where she complied with the corresponding administrative sanctions of arrest and a fine of 5,000 pesos. I bet she complied. It seems like that would be a good idea. However, in a separate incident, which is more recent, and this was reported on January 30th of 2023 by TMZ and a plethora of other outlets, including AP News, a Polish tourist in Mexico got a crash course in Mayan history after climbing a sacred pyramid. Locals were waiting for him when he got down, and one beat him with a stick. And when you hear beat him with a stick, you might think like he just kind of whacked him with a twig. No, this guy, if you look up the video, and again, I'm going to post these articles down below in this video, this guy hit him with a sapling, a large stick, and whacked him good. So I personally would think twice before you try to Kukulkan influencers, all right? And that's me included. I'm not gonna do it. But the wild scene was captured on video, played out over the weekend of the famous Chichen Itza archaeological site in Mexico's Yucatan. In the viral footage, you see a tourist come down Kukulkan's pyramid steps, and when he gets to the bottom, he's confronted by an angry mob, including a shirtless man with a huge stick who bonks the tourist in the head as others show their displeasure. And guys, he was walked out by people that were trying for his best interests, but he was being called a lot of names and there was a lot of stuff being thrown at him, just like the previous tourists. But the last article that we have is the funniest one, and that is no tourists are allowed to climb the pyramid of Chichen Itza, but dogs are okay. And there's a video of 2 dogs climbing the pyramid as happily as they can be, standing on top of it, very proud. So what is the lesson here? If you are not a canine, if you are not a dog, don't climb Chichen Itza. If you are somebody that is going there to visit, be respectful of the site. This is an ancient structure of indigenous people that were there over 1,500 years ago, and probably even before that. There are several amazing sites around Mexico that are just like this, and several that you can actually climb. But the reason that I have this entire video dedicated to this, and the reason that I say that these things are crazy and that something went on, is because of this. Many times I have talked about the fact that when you move to a place, when you move to a different city, or especially in this case, a foreign country, one of the things that you have to make sure that you do is be absolutely respectful of that country. And that doesn't just mean the streets, that doesn't mean the infrastructure, that means the people, the history, and especially the ancient monuments such as this. Now, in this case, there were 2 heads of the same issue. There were the people who were the descendants of the indigenous people that felt disrespected because they weren't allowed to speak their language by the people that were on site. And again, 2 sides to each story. I'm just relaying what I'm reading here. But they felt disrespected in that way, not able to sell their wares and whatever on a site that was a part of their history. And on the other side, you had foreign tourists, or at least tourists that were from different parts of the country, that came in and disrespected a site that everybody knows the rules for. You know that you are not allowed to climb the Temple of Kukulkan. Unless you're a canine, don't climb the Temple of Kukulkan, but you should absolutely visit it. And I hope that it continues to be a positive situation between the indigenous individuals and the INAH in Mexico, that we are able to enjoy this beautiful structure in a way that is not marred by negativity. Because one of the things that we have to all appreciate is the fact that we are able to see these ancient structures in the Americas. Whether it's Teotihuacan, Uxmal, Tulum, Chichen Itza, these are all beautiful, amazing structures from different individuals from 1,000 to thousands of years ago that were a part of the history of the Americas. And to be able to see those sites, to me, is one of the most amazing things that we can do. So that's me, off my soapbox. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you made it to the end.
You had one job.
Just the one?
Again, my name is Alexander Howell. I don't just talk about things that are going on in the Yucatan overall. I do talk about the real estate side, the travel side, all kinds of different things. I have videos addressing a lot of different things, but that is what you can look forward to on this channel, are travel, real estate, international real estate, all kinds of fun stuff, centering most of the time on the Yucatan Peninsula, Yucatan, and Merida in general. All of my contact information is down below. Please feel free to follow me at Alexander from KC. Very much appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, tell me what you think about the tourists who are walking up this ancient structure in the comments down below. I think that'd be an interesting start to the topic of conversation. But again, appreciate, go there, enjoy. Don't be one of these people. Don't do that. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, peace.